Hello and welcome to the Cook's Pantry. Now, if you're like me, you always ask for extra onions with your Bunnings sausage sanger, then you're gonna love this French little number that we're about to knock up. French onion soup. Now, there is no prizes for guessing that we're gonna kick this off with a big old bowl of onions. So we've got 6 onions that have been finely sliced here. We're gonna go in with about 50 grams of good quality salted butter, extra virgin olive oil. So we're gonna play these two together. The reason being, we get that beautiful richness from the butter. Of course, being French, there's gonna be no shortage of that. And we're gonna go in 6 onions sliced, and we'll slowly just cook them down to bring out that beautiful natural sweetness. Starting to get a bit of a sizzle in there. So such a simple dish. It's just a little bit of process, a little bit of patience to cook them down to really bring out that beautiful onion sweetness and get a little slight caramelization on them. So we're gonna let that tick away in there for about 15 minutes until they sweat right down and we've got almost a slight jammy consistency happening. So we've put the time and the effort into cooking down those onions, and we're getting a bit of caramelization happening there. Those natural sugars in the onion are starting to color up. Now I'm just gonna go in with a tablespoon of brown sugar. So the story goes, there's a couple of them floating around, but the gist of it is King Henry V was on a hunting expedition and he went into an inn, a pub, a hotel, whatever you want to call it. And the chef that was there, was in the Champagne region, he freaked out when old mates walked into the building. All he had in the pantry was onions, champagne, and butter. And that's how this little number came about. All right, so onions are in, a little bit of brown sugar. We're just gonna go in, toast off a little bit of flour as our thickening agent and just move that through and toast it off. So I would say that's how the dish began, with the champagne, the onions, the butter. But looking at this dish and the bones of it and what it's made up of, I would say that the popularity of it that traveled through the village using something like a beef stock, it's much more of a peasant style dish or a soup or a stew. So I would say that's how this dish evolved. All right, so we've cooked off the flour, I've toasted that. I'm just gonna deglaze with a bit of sherry vinegar. So we've got a couple of tablespoons of the sherry vinegar. That's gonna give us that little bit of acidity to just counteract that beautiful fattiness from the butter, the sweetness of the onions. It's just gonna give us that little sharpness that this dish will need. So, good beef stock, 1 litre. We'll just get that in there. Whole lot. And a bay leaf. So we're gonna bring that up to the boil, let it simmer until that flour really comes into play, helps to thicken up the soup. And then I'm gonna work on these little Gruyere croutons. Being French, cheese, butter, champagne, it's got it all. Whatever you do with croutons, old bread, that is the key. Peasant style dish, old bread, it's just, they go hand in hand. So we're just gonna cut some really nice thin slices of this baguette, and we're gonna douse it with Gruyere and a little bit of parsley. You know, you've got a stock-based soup, so to have a crouton that's loaded up with cheese to give you that gooey, creamy element. Did I just say elephant? You've got a stock-based soup, so to pair that with a crunchy crouton loaded up with Gruyere cheese to get that creaminess and that gooiness happening, good combination, great combination. So we're just gonna line these up, throw them around the tray here. Gruyere, box grater, make sure you get plenty. And just pile it up. Bit of fresh parsley. So I'll just take, all right. Any large stalky bits, just rip them off, discard them. Really fine shred on the parsley, and we're just gonna sprinkle it over the top and we'll knock them in the oven. It shouldn't take 4 or 5 minutes for that cheese to melt. That bread, because it's that little bit older, it's gonna toast up so fast. In we go. The oven is at 220. So we'll let them melt down, get crispy golden and delicious. There's a famous quote about this dish in particular that I absolutely love, and it's, whether you're a have or a have not, French onion soup is for everyone.